Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? How about them Niners? Finally got a win on a Sunday, which means Ping is in a good mood, even though it was the Chicago Bears, which they're not very good right now. But hey, we'll take a win where we can get a win on a Sunday. It keeps us alive in a 9% chance to make the playoffs. That's not very high, considering this team was in a Super Bowl 9 months ago. So, yeah, it's not a great year for the Niners, but hey, good to see you all. Natasha, Texas Roadrunner, good to see you. Mr. Dan Yee, Moonlight View, Peekaboo Cockatiel, Mama Mia, Kathy Lynch, Dan Yee, Sherry Runs Late. I'm going to call you that because that's your old name. Robbie's here. Hey, Robbie. Who else? Nana Lana, Reeby's here. It must be a Monday. Good to see you, Jung Forever. Hey, how are you? Good to see everyone. It is hot as balls here. It's hot and humid down here too. It is it's just summer. It's just summer weather. Oh, it has been a crazy. I feel like every time you travel or get ready to travel, it's like life just keeps throwing challenges at you. I woke up this morning to like 10 different things that have gone wrong, and I've been spending all morning trying to figure them out. Oh, it's just travel is mental. So I haven't rented a car in like a really long time, and I booked a car because we need to drive to the wedding venue. Anyway, I was like, "Oh, if I pay like this X, Y, and Z, like what would the total cost be? Because I need to know." And they're like, "Oh, you just pay the amount that you booked under." And I was like, "Great, that's perfect. I'll pay that." And they're like, "Oh, and we put like a few $100 hold on your card until you come back, and then it takes 10 days for us to release that." And I was like, "Why do you need more money if I've got insurance for the vehicle?" I was like, "I don't get it. What do you think I'm gonna do? Run away with all the fuel? I'm gonna run away with 20 bucks of fuel." It's just, I don't know. Traveling is mental. No, if for Victoria, where I am, the hottest month is January. January tends to be the hottest. January, February, March tends to be more hotter for the south, where I am. If you're in the north, like Reby here, their hot season is any day that ends with a Y. So any day that ends with a Y, they get, a lot of heat. All right. So remember, it's like the north is like Florida, and the south is more like the north of America. So, all right, let's watch this update. Then we're going to get into some details. What is it? They don't do that here. Yeah, I checked it. So, it's in their fine print. I had to go look for it, and it says, yeah, we could take a deposit of up to like 200 to like 500. I'm like, why do you need so much money? It's like, you greedy bloody car companies. Very, yeah, it is very hot down here. What did Reeby say? I always say you can keep putting more clothes on, but you can't keep taking them off. It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
About
All right.
one of the major stories that we have been following for you. The manhunt and the unidentified gunman approached UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson has now reached its fifth day. We all remember what happened early Wednesday morning in New York. The suspect opened fire outside the New York Hilton Midtown in Manhattan, and then vanished into the streets of the Big Apple, prompting a large scale manhunt. And we've seen new images, we've seen new video, but we have not been able to locate the suspect. That is what is New York City Police are saying. They did come up with a timeline here of the shooting, and I want to kind of go through that for you right here on Live Now from Fox. Kind of gives you a detail of the map to what we all know. So number one there on the screen at 6:44 in the morning, the victim is walking alone towards the New York Hilton Midtown after exiting his hotel across the street. And then number two moment there, the shooter, who is lying in wait alongside the building, fires at him. Then number three, the shooter then runs to an alleyway there across the street between 54th Street and 55th Street. Then, once at West 55th Street, the shooter continues to walk on 6th Avenue, where he gets onto a bike. The shooter rides north on 6th Avenue towards Central Park. And then at 6:48, the shooter rides the bike.
All right, I'm not going to let them go on with that. I just wanted to show you that because it's into the fifth day. Moonshadow, hey, how are you? Moonshadow says, I really want to know if the dude has any kind of accent. Well, as someone who doesn't talk with an accent, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that would look like. You know, I think if you were someone with one in America who didn't have, you know, an Americanized accent, it may be, you know, it may stick out. People might have noticed. Angela says, Why did he stay somewhere else?" I'm not. I reckon he was probably just trying to keep people guessing and probably to stop him from being tracked as easily. Who's having lymphoma treat? Is it Judy Ron? I thought he didn't have it. Wait. I must have missed the update. I thought he was okay. Everything was good. I thought like his test came back, it was all good. It was sort of like a scare, but it wasn't like, hey, you're gonna need like chemotherapy or something. Am I wrong about this? I can't say I'm not able to catch his show all that often, but I do check in every now and then. Moonlight Shadow. That's not a person. Moon Shadow says, I really want to know if the dude has any kind of accent. Well, we'll find out. Nanalana says, yeah, bless his heart. I hope so too. I hope he's all right. I wanted to show you something from this. Retired NYPD lieutenant says, person of interest is fascinated by the attention. Do you think that's true? Do you think he's sitting at home? Do you think he's on YouTube watching channels like this, going, "Oh my god, they're all talking about me. I'm TikTok famous." Um. Oh, okay. I don't know what that means. He had clear margins, but cancer spot in the cheek. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but it's not systemic. It's in one place. That means it can be treated, right? That's good. That's a good thing. All right. I hope he's all right. I hope he's all right. He's a good dude. All right. I want to play this little video and then we'll talk about it. By the way, I saw some interesting photos floating around social media this morning. People have been photoshopping, you know, they've been photoshopping the mask and the eyes, and I find it hilarious. People with their cut and paste skills, they're like, "Yes, I can do this," and it's comical. I'll show you one in a minute. Hold on.
Well, as I have stated this before, that he's not a professional, but he is calculated. All right, he obviously planned this out to a very good degree as well. He planned his escape route. He planned everything prior to it. I don't know if they have the exact number of days. It keeps changing of how many days he was actually here. But the fact that he left the bullets and the words he did put on there, he used the word depose instead of delay. He didn't use delay. He used depose. Who knows if this has anything to do with the civil suit that they may have instituted from somebody and it didn't go well. We don't know what it is. It could be just a red herring that he's throwing out there right now to throw people off for the real reason as to why he did this. I'm still not convinced that this is somebody who just happened to be, upon him on that morning. I think he had intimate knowledge of where Mr. Thompson would be at that hour. Now, how did he get that knowledge is the big $1 million question right now. How did he know to be there at 6:45 in the morning? So the fact that he was over there for a little bit, that the one witness who heard the shot said that man was there and they saw him there, then that says a lot. But he's leaving these clues. He's discarding it. He planned it from the beginning. I'm going to go through the park. I'll get rid of the clothes. I saw the bag. I felt that it was overloaded with clothing or something shoved in there.
So, what do you think about what this guy says? That it is a guy who likes the, attention of his crimes. Okay, sure. I hope I never have to deal with that, whatever that is. Clear lines is like this, so it's like not reaching into other places or further outside of the area. Okay, I get you. Look, I hope his treatment goes well tomorrow. I hope he's doing all right. You agree? I wonder if he's been sitting there. I wonder if this is sort of like a Koberger situation where he's like on Reddit telling people inside information to the crime, and everyone's like, "This guy's a troll. Don't listen to him. Look, he's whacked out of his head. Let's all downvote him." And then everyone figures out 9 months later that it really was him, and everyone is like, "Well, I knew. I definitely knew it was Brian." I was the first one to claim it was him. Everyone tried to claim that afterwards, saying that they knew, which I think everyone just thought it was a troll. But that guy did have some evidence that no one else had. So interesting. Rachel said, I think there's more to this than we know for sure. It definitely has some sort of backstory that we're not aware of. Something to do with the healthcare industry or that CEO's dealings within the healthcare industry. And the percentage that we know is like 2%. Like we know the publicly available information, but what's happened behind the scenes, what has been sealed by a court, like we don't know. That's why it's sealed by a court. So it could have been some sort of like deposition that happened that we don't know about. Could have lied about something, and it's really negatively affected someone, whoever this person is. We'll find out. Sherry says a brain test. I do that every morning. I wake up and I'm like, can I see the ceiling of my roof in my bedroom? Yes. Okay. Brain working. And then we get up for the day, and then I come do this. All right. I wanted to show you this as well. This was hinted to the other day by Ken. He said it got sent to him. This was that this United CEO Andrew Whitty gave an address to the company today. Apparently, the video got leaked. This was the one that I was telling you about the other night, and finally, I was able to find this tweet for it. So I want to play a couple minutes of it. And yeah, anyway, what do you call it? The credit goes to Ken.
I'm sure everybody has been disturbed by the amount of negative and, in many cases, vitriolic media and commentary that has been produced over the last few days, particularly in the social media environment. And I want to reassure you of a few things. Firstly, we are going to continue to make sure that we put patients, consumers, and members first, as we always have done. The mission of this company is truly to make sure that we help the system improve by helping the experience for individuals get better and better. There was nobody who did more to try and advance that mission than Brian Thompson. And there are very few people in the history of the US healthcare industry who had a bigger positive effect on American healthcare than Brian. And we are going to make sure that.
By the way, I would like to, if I was doing videos for YouTube and not a live stream, this would be the moment where I start plastering all the comments from, all over the internet of people telling everyone how bad United Care is. You know, they denied my grandfather. My grandfather died. They killed my grandmother. My wife was pregnant, and this happened. You like get like 1,000 of them pile up on the screen. That's the moment I would do that if I was an editor. Um, I like the high gloss approach here. He's trying to very smooth it over to the people he's speaking to. He's like, "Oh yes, we will continue to do our best." And why did they get a British guy? They're like, "No more Americans. We might America is under siege in the healthcare industry. Let's get a British guy." Um, yeah, I like how they're like business as normal. Keep ripping people off. That'll definitely take down the risk profile. Just keep going as normal. You know, don't deviate from taking money from everyone. All right, let's play the rest.
We not only acknowledge and honor that legacy of Brian, but we will continue it. Our role is a critical role, and we make sure that care is safe, appropriate, and is delivered when people need it. And we guard against the pressures that exist for unsafe care or for unnecessary care to be delivered in a way which makes the whole system too complex and ultimately unsustainable. So we're going to continue to make that case. We will continue to do the work we do. And I have never been more proud of this company and our colleagues and what this company does on behalf of people in need across.
Yes, I'm very proud when my CEO gets, murdered in the street by an assassin. Yeah, that's the type of message I like to put out to my team. I'm very proud of you all today. You did a great job not answering any calls and watching the television of the coverage. Thank you for that. It is, is my pride and joy being here to talk to you all today and say not much. Wendy R says, "Gee, Kai, don't break your arm patting yourself on the back." It almost seems like something they would do when someone retired, right? So a guy worked there for like 35 years, and they're like, "Yes, yes, Mark worked here for 35 years. He was a great addition to our team, took us forward into realms and industries that we never knew before, opened this company up to massive profits. And without him, we'll be sorely, missing him in his retirement. And here's a gold watch and a handshake and a bottle of whiskey. Enjoy your retirement, and we will somehow keep going without you." That's almost what it seems like. Lynn D says, "Sorry, buddy, I canceled my United a couple of days ago. I'm sure that will break your heart." Someone sent me a thing about United that their shares have been like yo-yoing. Hold on, let's see if I can find it. United. Was it United? Yeah, here we go. I want to see if I can bring this up for you. Yeah, here. Hopefully this doesn't dox me because it's all Google related. Let's go one day. You can see it's just yo-yoing, but it wiped off a whole bunch of money. Let's go to the 5-day overview. You can see it just walks off a cliff. It's like it's all up here over the 600, between 600 620. It's all around that. What is it, about 615, 620? And then it drops. It's just like, oh, our CEO got shot. Oh, it lost. I don't know how much this would be, like between 600 and whatever. What's the lowest number here? Whatever this is down here. I don't know what the 8.9%, like the total capital of the company, of what it's worth. I don't know how much that would be, but it's probably a crap load. Here, market cap, they're like, what is it? $505.8 billion. So if you lost, what is it? Almost 10%. So you lost around what, like $500 million? That's a lot of money. That's a crap load of money. So they're not doing so well. They're not doing so great. Scooter says, "Is it ethical to make millions off of healthcare? Is healthcare considered a right or a privilege?" I've seen both people say the same thing, like similar things. In some countries, like where I live, so I'm Australian, and we have universal healthcare. So here, it's considered an Australian right. Everyone has it. Same, I think, similar with Canada, similar with the UK. Although we do have I've said it before, in Australia, while we do have universal healthcare, and it's there if you need it, when you make certain amounts of money, you are pushed to not be on that universal system as much. They want you to have private healthcare. So you get you get a tax at tax time, and it's quite a lot of money, and it's sort of like not worth it for some people because they could just pay their own private health insurance and save that money. So it depends, but yeah, I think it depends on your country's outlook. In America specifically, I think for a long time, a lot of people have thought that healthcare system is broken. I mean, we've all heard the stories of people going in, they either traveling or live there, don't have insurance, and they're like, here, $180,000 for like a broken leg. So I see both sides of it very, very much. Gayla says NHS would be lost without it. Yeah. Moonlight View says, yeah, she's talking to Sherry. Wait, did I miss someone? I don't want to miss people. Hold on. Hey, Woman of Steel. Good to see you. Scooter, thanks for the question, though. I appreciate it. Kathy Lynch says, I wonder how many people understand that insurance companies are a business. They are. That's exactly what they are. They're not a federally run health organization. So in Australia, it's a little bit different. We have a national health insurance scheme that everyone gets when you're born. It's called Medicare. It's not the same as your Medicare. It's different. And there's certain things that are covered and there's certain things that are not. One of the things that is not covered, dental. Like we don't get dental insurance. You have to get your own private dental here. Uh, so it's slightly different. But yeah, we do have we have a very basic universal healthcare, and our hospitals here will not refuse to treat you if you go in there and you don't have money. Like, say, I'll give you an example. You are a tourist and you come over here and you fall from a height and you break some bones and have a concussion and have to go to hospital. They will take you, they will treat you, they will make sure you're okay. What happens after that with the giant bill you'll get, I don't know, but they will treat you. They won't refuse treatment like some other places I've heard of. Sean said credit card companies are raking it in too. Did you hear, Sean, that the government of Australia was charging a surcharge on all credit card transactions when they had no legal authority to do so, and they're not going to return any of the money because they're like, oh, it's too hard to return the money because there was a millions and millions of transactions. And how would we do that? So it's just way too hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep it and we're just going to not do it again. All right. We promise we won't do it again, but we're just going to keep the money. Uh, Go says the US could model our healthcare similar to our private public school system and our post office private mail. The one thing I love about the USA is your mail system. So you guys have USPS, which is your federal, normal mail, and then you have private companies like FedEx, UPS, that type of thing. In Australia, we have one company. It's Australia Post, and they can be good, and then sometimes they can be an absolute basket case because it's a monopoly. They're the only ones that we do have couriers like, FedEx and things like that, but we don't have anyone else who does the same services as Ozpost. But that's why I like the USA system for mail. So I get what you're saying. Maybe more competition, but have some federally, fully funded federal things to compete. So it'd be much cheaper. How does Australia fund their healthcare? I think through taxation. So, like I said, if you earn over, I think, is it everyone? Hold on, I'll ask. Sorry, I was just having a side table with my lawyer here. Um, we discussed it, and we think after $20,000 of earnings, everyone gets it's like $1,500. You have to pay it at tax time, and it comes out of your taxes. That's on top of 30%, like overall. So you when you get paid every fortnight or every week, you pay 30% to the government, and then at tax time you get charged about $1,500 in a Medicare levy. So that's how we fund it. Yeah. So that's why if you get private, I think you can get a rebate on the Medicare levy if you have private health insurance. So if you have private health insurance, you don't have to pay it because you're covered under your insurance. So that's how we fund it, or partially. Carolina says, I have insurance after I pay 9,000, I pay after I pay 9,000, I pay 200 a month for that. Wow. It's a cost, eh? It really goes into your like budget every fortnight or whatever. I Hate Morning says, I find it interesting how countries with universal healthcare have better regulation on food ingredients. Yeah, it's interesting. Do you guys want to know a weird little fact I know about food regulations? For a really long time, you couldn't buy Pop Tarts or import them into Australia because they had beef taro in it, and we didn't want beef taro or something coming from the USA. So yeah, we have some weird regulations. Yeah, let's see. John Lennon. Yeah, John Lennon was pretty shocking. All right, let's watch the rest of this little guy, and then we'll go to the next thing.
The country. I encourage you to tune out that critical noise that we're hearing right now. It does not reflect reality. It is simply a sign of an era in which we live. What we must do is focus on what we know to be true. And what we know to be true is that the health system needs a company like United Health Group, and it needs people like Brian within it. We're fortunate that within this company, we have so many people driven and inspired in the same way that Brian was. And we will continue in our journey to help everybody who needs it within the health environment.
There you go. You know, I also heard a thing earlier today. A a big thing happening in America right now, with these health changes and things like that. Apparently, pregnant women. So, if you're a pregnant lady, apparently a lot of OBGYN, they are charging women up front for their entire care package as soon as they have their first appointment for a pregnancy. And apparently it can range anywhere from like $1,500 to like 8 grand. And this is apparently something to do with grouping of charging on the health insurance or something. So unfortunately, a lot of women are getting financial pressure when they are pregnant. Hey, good to see you. Pavantanaya, is that how you pronounce your name? I'm sorry, my friend. Um, if you have a nickname, you let me know so I can say it easier. The insider trading tells me it was a corporate hit. UHC wants this to go away. Yeah, I think when you take $15.1 million after you knew that there was a DOJ investigation and you sell your internal stock to enrich yourself, yeah, there might be a few people mad, but it wasn't just him. There was other people involved. He was actually, I think, the smallest amount, or he sold the smallest amount of shares. There was two other guys that sold well north of, I think one was 50 million and one was over $100 million of shares before the news broke about the internal investigation. Hey, hey, good to see you, Briggs. I'm going to call you Briggs because I had a friend called Briggs that worked at a telco here. How's it going? Yeah, he could have been silenced. Maybe he knew too much. Maybe he knew too much. Hey, Peekaboo. I just want to say that I have United Healthcare for my Medicare supplement, and it has been wonderful. It has paid for everything for my cancer surgery, and I didn't pay for anything. Thanks, my friend. I'm glad that you've had a good journey with them. I know what you've been through, so I'm glad they helped you. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying that there's a lot of people who have been, in their words, screwed over by them. Ghosts. Hey, ghosts. That's Andrew Whitty. Yeah, I said British accent. He might be next. That's what I said when I heard that he did this video. I was like, is it a good idea to be addressing your entire audience, like your entire set of workers, like a day after your previous guy was shot and killed in New York? I was like, maybe you should keep a low profile, grow a mustache, color your hair or get like a toupee, and maybe walk around with like 10 bodyguards. Scooter says the US pays a lot for Medicare and Medicaid, but only a certain subset of individuals are eligible. All right, let me ask this for Americans here because I don't know. Um, if your taxes had to go up by 5% to introduce a universal healthcare system within America, how many of you would be okay with doing that? Like, so do you understand what that means? I'm sure you do. You're all very clever. That means that the people who earn more would be helping to subsidize the people who don't earn very much or don't earn anything at all. Is that something that you would be okay with? Or do you think that, are you one of these people that's like, I pay enough taxes already, they can kiss my ass and, go away? Peekaboo says yes. Nobody cried when Bernie Madoff died. They did not. They did not. Wendy R says not okay with that. Okay, fair enough. It's 2% of taxable income. Low income earners pay a reduced rate or no levy at all. I know for a lot of people in like a certain bracket, it's around 1,500, but it goes up in the different brackets. I was just using it as an example, but thank you for the info. Don Wayne says, "Long live the Bengals. Have a manic Monday tomorrow." Yes, if your team won, you can have a manic Monday tomorrow. Piku says, "I would absolutely." Ghost says yes. Scooter says yes, as long as everyone is eligible. Yeah, the idea would be it'd be accessible to anyone who is American born at birth or becomes a like naturalized citizen of the USA. Hey, Troll Theory, how are you? There has been a battle since the 1960s trying to scare Americans from Medicare for all. Yeah, I have heard that people said that their taxes will go through the roof, but I don't believe they would. If you use Australia as an example, our taxes, while higher than yours, if you add together your increased sales tax, state tax, federal, and then I think you guys have another one that goes on your payslip. I think it's pretty similar in most places in the USA, except for like Florida, Connecticut. There's a couple that don't charge it, but I think in a lot of places it is very comparable. Wendy R says government programs always are badly managed, overpriced, and impossible to get rid of. I appreciate your opinion. Oh, here, I'll have a look. Sorry, the chat moves quite quickly, so sometimes I don't catch everyone's comment. Here. No, that's that's the one you just posted. Here. Luckily, we have obtained insurance before our son had his fall and TBI. I'm sorry to hear that. The cost was $500,000. Wow. It's a lot of money. Briggs says there isn't anyone in the US that is responsible enough financially / administratively to oversee a universal healthcare system. They can't handle what they have now. Okay, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you guys. So I appreciate the like your input. Then they said, then Wendy, how do you explain Medicare Advantage being so awful? It's private run Medicare. All right, I'll ask you this question. If they could find someone that could run it, would you want the Canadian system or the Australian system? They're slightly different. I wonder if anyone has enough of an insight to know the difference. But because I heard a lot of Americans go to Canada, try and get cheap healthcare. Heard that's a thing. Peekaboo says, also, Ping, if you want to add what we pay in premiums and co-pays and deductibles and put that amount into tax instead, it would be a better universal Medicare. Yeah, I think when you add up all these little bits that everyone pays, everyone's so afraid of the tax. But I think if you just took all that away and added a flat tax on tax time or, out of your pay, it probably might end up cheaper for everyone. Although, could you imagine if the insurance industry got wind that was going to happen? They have the biggest lobbying group probably throughout America, other than like the IRA. Oh, is that the IRA? Not the IRA. Whatever the firearms one is, can't remember what they're called. Lots of very smart people can change things. They will just need to do it. I hope you do for your country. I don't like seeing that there's people that can't get the treatment they need because their credit card won't go ping when they go to the hospital. And I find that very disturbing. It's not a life I know about. Danny Mitchell says, I want to choose where I go if I'm sick. I think that's you should be allowed to do that. Brick says, I would need to do some research to determine if that would be a possibility. Let me know. I would be happy to hear your opinion. Carolina says, basically at this point, I want to know if I have cancer, my family won't have nothing. What? I want to know if I have cancer, my family won't have nothing. I don't know what that means. Do you mean if you have cancer, your family won't have anything? You have to let me know. Might have to clarify. Rachel says, I don't think the insurance companies will let universal healthcare happen. I heard a statistic the other day that said that literally in all Western countries, including Australia, the US, Canada, the UK, name a bunch of others in Europe, that the healthcare lobbyists are some of the most powerful. We think it's firearms, drug companies, whatever, but like the healthcare lobbies are the ones who really run a lot of stuff. Publicly funded elections would end the bribery. Could be, yeah. Lobbying is just bribery. It's who has the most money and who has the biggest group of people behind them to force things through. Happens here too, I promise. The doctors will need to take a pay cut if they go to universal healthcare. Well, hold on. Let's have a look. What's the average? All right, let's look up the average here. All right. So it says here in the average doctor, so just your plain everyday doctor, I don't know what, got maybe a GP or something, or maybe works at a hospital, not a specialist or anything. They're saying in the United States, the average salary for doctors is around $190,000 per year, while in Australia, it's around $188,185, which is around 120 grand in US dollars. So it is a bit of a drop, but I actually think that might have something to do with population base too. Australia is a much smaller country. We have, what is it, like 30 million people? You guys have 300 million, something like that. It's like a tenfold increase. You have more customers, you have more people you can charge, you have higher wages you can get if you're in a specialized field. Peekaboo says, can I go and live in Australia instead of the US? Immigrating to Australia is actually really difficult. It depends. Actually, I think Peekaboo, my friend, I think you would actually get denied, and I hate to say that, because I'd love for you to move here and hang out with me, but if you have any predisposed condition, anything that they would consider that you might be a burden on the healthcare system, they will deny your immigration. And unfortunately, I know you've had some health history. I think you would probably get knocked back. They've knocked back children who have got like that are on the spectrum because they need a lot of help and care and stuff. They've knocked back families with that kids are on the spectrum for the same reason. They just say they don't want to pay for it. Caroline means if she has cancer, she won't drag her family into the millions of medical debt. Thank you. Which is what happens to a lot of people. Oh, I get what she means now. Oh, we love you, Carolina. Yeah, many people have to decide if they pay for their health or they put food on the table. That's a scary situation, right? I Hate Morning says, what's the different cost of education in Australia for a doctor and the US? All right, let's have a look. What's a doctorate degree? A medical doctorate degree, Australia versus USA. All right. Average doctorate. We'll just do PhD. That didn't work. Hold on. So I see a post here. Someone's asking about studying in either one. They're saying here that most times people that do a PhD, it's not the PhD that costs money, it's the education beforehand. Most times when you get into a PhD program, it's funded via scholarship or acceptance into some program. I'm just trying to see. So in Australia, if you are in university, we have something similar to. So in America, you guys have to go get a loan to go to college or university. We have something similar. It's called HEX here, and basically what happens is the government lends you or the school the money for your education, and then when you finish school and get a job and you earn a certain amount of money, you have to pay it back, which I think is similar to the way they do it in the US, but in the US it's through financial systems, right? Through banks like your local bank, they do loans for education. So I'm not sure what the cost is, but I'm guessing it's probably over $200,000 for most. If you wanted to from the start to the end, it's probably about the same in each country. I can't find a comparison between. Yeah, I can't find a comparison between each country, unfortunately. How much? Yeah, they're very similar. They're very similar from the couple bits of information I see here. One of this is a educational place in America. They say it can take between 28,000 and 55,000 annually to do a PhD program. In Australia, it's between 12 and about 80,000, depending on which program. So I think it's very comparable with each other. MD, not PhD. Sorry, same thing. I mean, all the medical costs are very not medical. Education costs here are very, very similar, especially when you get into those higher ranking programs. But I've heard of people leaving with like $250,000 worth of government debt from doing different programs. I hate morning says, yeah, that's very sad. It's important to separate different types of doctors. General practitioners, like family doctors, they don't make a ton. Specialists can make multiple millions. Yeah, if you're like a plastic surgeon or you're like a brain surgeon, they make a lot of money. I can't find a direct comparison. Hold on, let me look up an M. Let me do it differently. MD. No, that didn't work. Average. Here. Just trying to find a figurehead number so we can talk about it. Okay. The average cost of medical school in Australia is generally comparable to the cost in the USA, but the cost can vary depending on the type of school, whether you are international or a domestic student. They say in Australia, the average tuition for international students, so if you come from overseas here, is between $225,200 and over $600,000. Wow, it's a lot of money. Australian residents have similar, pricing, but there's certain breaks that you get for being a domestic student where the costs aren't quite as high, or you get subsidies from the government for education. They might pay some of it. In the United States, the average cost of medical school is between $140,000 and $240,000 USD, not including the cost of an undergraduate degree. The cost varies depending on the type of school, with public schools costing less than private schools. US residents pay approximately $47,000 per year, while international students pay upwards of 50 grand per year. So there you go. That's the write up I was able to find for you. Yeah, so around that's what they were saying. Diane Marie, I'm sorry. Actually, let's jump off this for a second. I want to take you to Australia because I've never seen this before, and I was hoping some of our American viewers would stick around and have a watch because you deal with this quite frequently, but for us down here, it's not a topic that. How do I explain it? We do see it here, but it's not as overwhelming as it can be in the USA. So last Friday, there was a fire at a synagogue in, is that how you pronounce it? I hope so. In Ripponlea in Melbourne here. It burnt down the Jewish people's place of worship. This morning, our Victorian Police Chief, Shane Patton, came out and has declared it a terrorist incident. So I'm going to bring you that press conference from a couple of hours ago, direct from Victorian Police.
At the out-
Here we go. Hopefully he'll get his butt on stage. Hurry up, buddy. We don't have all the time in the world. Come on. Where is he? All right, here we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to provide an update on the Adass Israel synagogue arson that occurred on Friday in Ripponlea. At the outset, can I say that Victoria Police and I personally condemn the callous and horrific attack, the targeted attack that occurred on that day. Friday, I think it's been widely reported, but we saw an arson occur at a synagogue. We had and have 3 suspects in that matter who we are pursuing. As a result of that arson occurring on Friday, I initially deployed the detective inspector in charge of our arson squad as the person in charge of the investigation, and our crime command as well. We deployed all of the forensic resources you would expect to be there, arson chemists and a range of other assistants. So everything that could and should have been done occurred. We also liaised with our counterparts, ASIO, the Australian Federal Police, and all the agencies you would expect us to liaise with. At that time on Friday, we considered and took advice as to whether that attack met the threshold to be declared a terrorist incident. At that time, the decision was it did not at that stage reach the threshold to be declared such an incident. The investigation has continued on over the weekend and we have made significant progress. I am not, for operational reasons, going to go into any details about the investigation here today, other than I said we have made significant progress. Over the weekend, we have continued to investigate, gain intelligence and evidence, work with our partners, as I said, ASIO, Federal Police, and on Friday, we did deploy our counter-terrorism security investigation unit to be a part of this. The detective inspector who's in charge of the arson squad has had previous experience in counter-terrorism investigations through Operation Pendennis, so he is very well versed in what is required here. We've continued to monitor that over the weekend. I have been in touch with the Australian Federal Police Commissioner every day since Friday, and including Friday. I've regularly briefed government to the extent that I can, and we have continued to gather and collect evidence and intelligence. Yesterday morning, myself and Reece Kershaw, the Commissioner, determined that it would be appropriate to hold a joint management committee meeting this morning. That is a strategic group led by Deputy Commissioners from AFP and Victoria Police and the Assistant Commissioners.
So that is the press conference that happened today about this. I'm going to take you back to Friday and show you what happened.
Breaking news out of Melbourne's southeast, where police are investigating a suspicious fire that significantly damaged a synagogue. Reporter Stephanie Ferrier joins us now from Glen Ira in Melbourne's southeast. Steph, what's the latest?
Good morning, Emma. Well, you can see fire crews just behind me at the moment. They're mopping up after this huge blaze tore through the Adass Israel synagogue here at Ripponlea, which is only about 7 k's southeast of Melbourne CBD, just after 4 o'clock this morning. Now, by the time firefighters arrived here, they said that this blaze was already fully involved. So it actually took them about 45 minutes. That was 17 appliances and 60 firefighters in all to be able to control this blaze. Luckily, they said that they were able to actually stop it from spreading to nearby buildings and also to businesses as well. But we have heard that this blaze is now being deemed as suspicious and that they have obviously set up a crime scene here. So this area of the road has been blocked off, although...
All right, let me show you what it looks like from the inside of what's left of that synagogue. Here. This is all that's left. It completely burnt down, and as you can see, There's not a lot left. And so for people that don't know, people asked, is anti-Semitism a thing here? Yes, but more in the like, since the war is started, between Israel and Palestine and the fighting, it's really kicked into another gear. There's a area in Melbourne here. It's like Ripponlea, Elstonwick, Bentley, a few others. It's got a very high Jewish population. Like if I go to the supermarket around the corner from my home, I can get kosher products. I can get kosher bread. I can get the Friday night bread. I'm not sure. Challah, is that the way I'm not a Jewish person. I'm sorry, but they sell all those type of products for Jewish people. You can get it. You can get kosher salt, like everything you would need. You can get. So it's odd because I've lived in many places in Australia, and there's no Jewish community. When I first moved here, I actually lived in Elstonwick, and I saw like them going uh, to their churches and places of worship and the schools. They have their own schools in the area too. And I was stunned. I was like, wow, this is like a film from New York or something. But I've lived here 20 years now. I've seen a lot of these people, met a lot of them. Great, some very nice people. So to burn down their place of worship is horrible. It really is. It's a step too far. You want to have a problem with people, fine. You don't like people or people of certain religion, fine. But don't go burn down their one place. Like, what if they did that to you? Like, that's not what we do here in Australia. We don't do that to people. It's a very multicultural society. We have like Hindus, we have some Muslim people, we have Buddhists, we have Christians, we have people that believe that crystals can heal you. Like we have all sorts of people from all sorts of denominations. We have all sorts of it's just not on, and I'm not sure. But if you went outside of here, you wouldn't be able to get it. It's just here because of the high population. Why here? I don't know either. But I just know that they do sell a lot of kosher products down here. Laura T says, "So sad that humans can be so stupid and cruel." It is, and so close to Hanukkah right now. They're going to have their sort of December celebration. That it feels very personal and feels very like they wanted to do as much damage as possible. Very sad. You have a mosque. Okay, I think we have a mosque somewhere around here. Yeah, it's pretty rare for them to define it as a terrorism incident is I think probably the last one was maybe the Lint siege in Sydney might have been the last one on Australian soil. I appreciate that. Most of us are. DT, I don't know. Who's DT? Dan Thomas? Who's Dan Thomas? We have it in our supermarkets, but also halal. We have halal too. We don't have that where I live. We had some mosque attacks. Okay. The photos? I'm not sure. Are you talking about the ones for the CEO? I don't know. You tell me, Alex Carter. Do you have any inside knowledge of why they're four different guys and a girl? You let me know in the chat, and then I'll know, and then we can both know, and then we can both talk about it. But yeah, so that got described. That happened a couple of hours ago. That press conference with Australian Federal Police. I'm going to take you to the. I don't know what's going on with the Herald, but all their photos are busted. Yeah, let's go here. I don't know if I can fix it. Yeah, their website's playing up. Hold on. Might have to go to the ABC, unfortunately. We can go to news.com, that's fine. So they say police confirm synagogue firebomb was being treated as a terrorist attack. They're saying the burning of the Melbourne synagogue has officially been deemed a terrorist attack, and they say it was firebombed in the early hours of Friday morning last week, sending shockwaves through the Australian Jewish community.
Victorian Premier Jacinda
following a meeting between the AFP and Victorian Police, they say the Chief Commissioner Shane Patton confirmed the incident was being treated as such. Yeah, you can see it today. That's what it looks like now after they've boarded it all up. You can see some Jewish people here walking by, probably to leave flowers or a card or something for the center. They're saying a declaration of an act of terrorism will allow the AFP to join the Victorian Police. So the AFP is sort of like your FBI. So yeah, so that would almost be a direct match. Although the AFP is sort of like the CIA and the FBI joined into one. They say Mr. Patton said 3 suspects had been identified, but did not want to jeopardize the investigation by going into a blow for blow or blow by blow of what evidence and intelligence they had already gained. They say what concerns me is the callous nature of the attack, the involved nature of the attack, and the fact the attack taken place where it occurred. So they're not giving much away. You can see them here trying to rescue relics and valuable items from their from the fire. Hope they were able to get some things out, unfortunately. It is. I think in a Western society where we all learn to live together, you got to have tolerance and try and at least get along. And if you're not Jewish, leave them alone. If you're not Muslim, leave them alone. Just let them go to their place of worship. If you're Christian, let them go to their church. Just let people do what they want to do and stay in your own lane. Don't be like firebombing people right before their, big yearly like Hanukkah and that. It's ridiculous. So Shanghai has a big Jewish community. I didn't know that. That's very interesting. Hold on. There are Jewish nursing homes? I had no idea about that either. Woman of Steel says, we don't where I live. Yeah. Anyway, I wanted just to show you what's going on down here because it's like a really big deal. Everyone's going a bit bonkers about it in Melbourne today. So I know everyone wants to talk about the CEO, but I thought we'll just have a bit of a break for a second and we'll talk about that. By the way, for the people following the Diddy, what do you call it? Like the Diddy arresting and all that. I wonder if you all saw today that a civil lawsuit has come out accusing Jay-Z and Diddy of non-consensual sexual activity with a 13-year-old girl. So I don't know if a lot of you saw that in the news today, but that did come out. All right. There you go. I just wanted to give you that update from Melbourne. I know a lot of people like to know what's going on in this particular city. All right. Well, we can go back to the CEO if you want. Carolina says hate has no place. I agree. Try and be. I try and be respectful of everyone, no matter who they are. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care who you vote for. I care about the person you are. I don't care about what you do. Like, I don't care if you have a girlfriend or you have a boyfriend and you're a guy and you're gay. I genuinely don't care. I care about the type of person you are, like how you treat other people, the things you do, that type of thing. That's how I deal with people. Don't care. You could be a person who prays about crystals and how they can heal you, and I would still be your friend. You could tell me that there's mushrooms that you go and visit in the forest and you pray to them and they make your life better, and I'd be like, that's pretty cool. But I'd be like, I'm not going to do it, but that's cool for you. Yeah. Caroline, I thank you for the super chat, though. It really does help. What would Ted Lasso say? That's right. Be curious and not judgmental. I love that show. It's the best show ever. I'm really sad that they're never going to bring it back. And I gotta say, I really did not like the ending of the last season. I mean, I liked it, and it was cute to see the wedding and all that. But I just thought there was more to that story we could have explored. By the way, my favorite actor is in that one, Juno. I think she's the best part of besides Ted. She's like the best character in that entire show. She's so funny. Although in season 3, I thought they watered her lines down, and she wasn't as funny anymore. But in season 1 and 2, she was dynamite. So funny. Gayla says, if you are a good person and you don't hurt animals, that's all I need to know. That's a good point. There's mushrooms in a forest that I pray to every day. You do? I'm glad for you. I'm happy that you do that. All right. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of people who hurt animals either. All right, let me actually, I wonder if I can show you any of the actual fire. No, I don't think I can. I don't want to show a synagogue being burnt down anyway. Okay, let's go back. I want to talk about what that person said about the CEO thing. There's a lot of people who think, like Thompson, like the person who killed Thompson, could be multiple people. And I've heard like so many people have come into my chat and said, Ping, look at the photos. They're different people. So let's go back, and I want to show these photos from yesterday. Where is it? Let's see if I can bring them up for you. I know someone did a comparison, but I'm not sure if I can find it that quickly. Oh, this is interesting. Let's go here. Actually, this is why this is a dangerous business, because if everyone remembers the Boston Marathon manhunt, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's that guy over there," and we found out, we're on Reddit and we figured it out, and we're the heroes. Well, no, it wasn't, and that guy was very, his life got turned upside down. They're saying here, breaking. Possible match for UnitedHealthcare CEO assassin identified. Do you recognize this person? And apparently this guy is now living in fear because the picture of Joey Manarino, and they're saying that it's not him, or at least, yeah, they're saying it isn't, and now he's fearing for his life. They're saying in a post on X, a photo of Joey was featured alongside a surveillance image of the suspect. Below the caption, possible match for UnitedHealthcare CEO assassin identified. And the post had garnered more than 3 million views as of the weekend. They said Manarino, a vocal supporter of the president-elect Donald Trump, quickly blasted the post for potentially putting him in danger. He wrote, "How is this allowed? This can get me killed." And I got to admit, you got to be careful when trying to ID someone as, someone the entire world is looking for right now. No, he's visiting from Minnesota. Is that? Did I get the state right? I always feel you feed the crows and they protect you. I think that's a good religion. Spread it around the world to other people who love crows. Reby says she is part of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. That is a good one. I think it was Minnesota. Hold on. Ping always gets states confused. We had the town before because we know that his wife's property was raided over a swatting incident last week. Just trying to figure out the town name again. I don't have it off the top of my head now that we spoke about a different story. Here we go. The Star Tribune has it. Whistling Pines. It is Minnesota. Whistling Pines. That's the neighborhood, apparently. Doesn't it look very something like a Hallmark like from a Hallmark movie at Christmas. It really does. They're saying he was out of town, Hennepin County. So that's where they're from apparently. Where is Hennepin County? Let's have a look. Hennepin County Sheriff's Office. I have no idea where that is in the area. Hey, stop that. There we go. All right, so the county's here. For people who don't know, I got to tell you, I wouldn't be able to tell you if this was north, south of the of the capital. I have no idea. Let's have a look. Let's zoom out. Oh, it's like southern, or it's really not too far from the border. Someone near St. Paul. There we go. I know St. Paul. Everyone knows that one. It's not too far. What would you call that? Like northwest of St. Paul, or just west, really? Over here, Hennepin County. And there's the sheriff's office. The people who did the swatting call right down here. So there you go. For people who don't know where his wife lives. If you can see Golden Valley and Crystal, it's to the west of that. Well, it's right there on the screen now. Oh. Oh, did it? Hold on. Yeah. Hold on, guys. Sorry, someone's asking for a technical thing. 1 second. Oh, okay, we may be having a super chat issue tonight. Hey, Govinda, how are you? Personal seems to be the new buzzword in crime. I think people like to describe it to put a, like a barrier between something that might be like a random crime, and so they're like, well, it wasn't random, so it must have been personal. I think that's the buzz phrase in true crime. Briggs says, I think that's where Prince the rock star lived. Is it? I know in Minnesota he's the man. In St. Paul. That's Prince country. I know that the Minnesota Vikings, like their entire stadium looks like something that that Prince would have built. Like they've got a lot of his symbolic and symbols in it, and the colorization. It's really cool. What would Michael Corleone say? I don't know. It's been a long time since I would know any words from that, but you guys, your references are better than mine. It's just business. I think when we get to the end of this, that's probably what it's going to be. Ever since day one, there's really been no. So when you get police interaction, so these press conferences or they do updates, they're feeding you little bits of narrative that's their entire job. Their entire job is to control that narrative out into the media and the public. But so far, we haven't. If they thought this was like a randomized killing and it had nothing to do with Brian Thompson, we would have already had those breadcrumbs. And I think so far, the only kind of narrative or breadcrumbing they're doing is to tell us that it's something related to his job. So stop giving me names I can't pronounce. Govinda says, what happened? Don't see it on YouTube news. Depends on what, my friend. Depends on what. We've done a couple of stories. Let's get out of here. Let's get to a different one. Let's get to a different one about Brian Thompson. Let's see what else we have for you. Let's see if there's Sunday's normally a very quiet day traditionally in the USA media, especially with police and stuff. So I wouldn't be expecting any major updates, to be honest. Let's have a look. Please find backpack. We already know that. 10 minutes ago. So apparently someone has started a Wikipedia. I didn't know they had done that already. Hey, I'm not going to give you any money. It says here, Oh, they've got a lot of different, whoever's managing this, you've done a good job. Yeah, claim rates denial. Let's have a look if that'll go backwards. There we go. UnitedHealthcare rejects 32% of claims, and it looks like some of the other ones have a smaller, claim denial rates by insurance company. There you go. Cigna 18%, Molina 19, Anthem 23, Medicare not too far behind United, and isn't United like the biggest one in the country too? So they reject 1 in 3. 1 in 3 claims that come across the desk of UnitedHealthcare are rejected. That's what 32% basically tells you. 1 in 3. They said he had security. They said he was going to have security, just not at that point in time or something. Like when he went to the conference, he was going to have security guards. Govita says Islam thinks it should be a world domination power. Seriously, that whole world needs to come under. That whole world needs to come under. That the whole world needs to come under Sharia law. I mean, I think that a lot of cultures, not just Islamic people, or I think we had a lot of problems with this in other people that have come into our countries over the years. Like I remember when in Australia it was like the Italians. The Italians are going to steal all our jobs and they're going to do this and this. I do agree though that there's always integration issues between people. So, and especially like when, there are things like that. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying it seems to be a lot of problems when we try and push people and mingle them together when they come from other parts of the world with their own belief system. Wendy R says, guess they make good profits with those statistics. I know, right? Yeah, watch the movie Michael Clayton. I will tonight, all right? Just for you, I'll watch it tonight. Gayla says, I think it's strange he was staying at a different hotel. Yeah. Maria says, I thought extremism is a concern for many religions. Someone just burnt down a synagogue. So there's a lot of different things we could blame on a lot of different people. People have to reckon this guy already. I reckon people have already seen him. They would have to have. I said that the other day. You have a city of millions of people, and everyone's like, no, I never saw that guy. He when he was riding a bike? Nah, I didn't see anyone riding a bike on Wednesday morning. Nah, I never see people with bikes. They just don't come here anymore. No, I'm sure people have. They either don't recognize or I don't know, they just don't want to help. Who knows? They're afraid of police. That's a big thing. All right. That's an interesting statistic though. 32%. I would never have thought it is that high. I wonder what that percentage is on appeal, or is this finalized claims? So is this first claim through? So when you first submit it, is it a 32% denial rate, or is this even on appeal? They still have a 32% denial. Because if that is 32%, even after you've resubmitted with more paperwork or whatever, more doctors crap, that's high. It's really high. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Julia Cox says, what does the bar graph represent on the screen? So it represents the claim denial rates by different insurance companies. And down the bottom, you can see UnitedHealthcare at the highest at 32%. Friday. Friday, we're doing the hoodie drawing. I was going to show it tonight, but they made a mistake. So they're fixing it right now. If I get it before the end of the show, I will show it to you. But they screwed up. They wrote it as P-I, and then the N looks like an I, and then G. So that's not how you spell my name. So they're fixing it. Hopefully I'll have it before we finish the show. If not, it'll probably be tomorrow night. I'll show them to you. And then on Friday, we're doing the massive draw when I'm in Tasmania. AI is a loose cannon. It is. We have to make sure we rein it in. Next, it's going to steal all our jobs. Was that healthcare company for private medical or life insurance? Just insurance. It doesn't specify. Let me see if I can find a more in-depth one for us. USA insurance denial rate graph. Let's see if we can find one that's like a bigger version of it. Okay. This has a little bit more context. Let me grab this. By the way, I will say who this came from. I'll put it in the description because I don't just pinch people's work for no reason. Oh, it has their name in it. Okay, good. It has their name, so we can give them their proper credit. Yeah. Let me upload this, and we can have a look. All right. This one has a little bit more in-depth information. Similar chart. Let me see if I can remove my branding so we can all see it. There we go. And let me take that down. Hey, thanks. Thank you very much for another super chat. I appreciate it. So there you go. That says this is from the user on Reddit called TA Majesty Palm. Thank you to them. It says here health insurance claims denial rates in network. So in network. And it says UnitedHealthcare 33%. This one's even a little higher. And then Medicare again, they were pretty high in the previous one too. Yeah, I'm just checking another graph here. It seems like I've checked 3 different ones now, and they all have very similar numbers, including this one done by the Boston Globe. So I'll take you to that one too. Let me move that. And remove this off your screen. There you go. Here's the other one from the Boston Globe. They have very similar numbers here. 32 or 33%. So seems like those numbers are pretty rock solid, and they come from several different sources. I want that hoodie. I think we're giving away 2, so you're also a member, so you'll get a chance at the second one too. So you get 2 chances, my friend. Wonder if all the companies are for profit. I'm not American, so I don't fully know, but I would suggest that the majority of these are profit driven. This thing reeks of corporate murder. You might, there was a double murder in Canada. Now, people who have been here before that have been on my channel will know this one, but it's the Barry and Honey murders in Canada. He was a pharmaceutical owner. He owned a pharmaceutical business that made generic medication, and they were killed in their home. And everyone thought that it was like a different medical company trying to kill the guy that makes all the money. They're like, hey, let's kill our competition. And in the documentary about it, they broke down like what would be the reason to kill these people from a competitor or someone like they bought out or ripped off, like whatever word you want to use. They said that when they worked through it, the negatives for it are so much higher for any other company to like hire an assassin, kill the competition, like in a Western country. This might happen in, other countries possibly, but in like Canada, the US, Australia, to actually hire a hitman to go kill your competition is like the negatives here. You could like get caught, then you bring your own company down. It's very hard to disassociate yourself from the actual action. So in that particular case, they were like, that's not a line of inquiry that we ever truly looked at because it just was so far-fetched and it didn't make a lot of sense. So I always try to think back to that when we're trying to think about, could it have been like another company or something like that? Kaiser Permanente is a non-profit. Where are they on the list? They're down the, look at that, non-profit, 7% denial. Interesting. What freaking country are we talking about? USA. Well, the case I was talking about with Honey and Barry, that is from Canada, but we're talking about the USA CEO killing right now. I think it might have to do with their son. Maybe. You're talking about the, sorry, I think some people are delayed. So some people are stuck at like, 10, 15 minutes ago. So the first story we spoke about was we started off with some information about the CEO killing. And then we had a little break. I took you to Melbourne, Australia, and we spoke about a synagogue that was burnt down in Melbourne on Friday. And then today, the Australian Federal Police and the Victorian Police designated that act of burning it down to be a terrorism incident. And then once we finished that, we came back to the CEO story. So hope that helps you. Woman of Steel said greed drives people to do terrible things, especially when you're talking about like 100 million. All right. Let's see what else we can find. I was hoping to find those photos, but I haven't been able to so far in my Googling around. Let's see, Manhunt. By the way, I hope you all saw what happened in Palm Springs last night. They were having like a Christmas parade, and there was a police officer on a motorbike who, I think right near the end of the celebration, tried to do a wheelie, lost control of the motorbike, and slammed into the crowd. I heard last night that the police officer on the bike actually almost his hand was severed from his arm. Hold on. Sorry, wife is going to go get some stuff done for the wedding. Julia Cox says the response to the CEO murder has been wild and not surprising. Yeah, Palm Springs in the USA. Do you guys want to see that for a minute while I go look for some other information on the CEO thing? Do you guys want to see that story? Hold on. Yeah, I'll show it to you while I go look for some other information. Palm Springs. No, that's not it. Yes, here. 40 seconds. No, it's not long enough. Trying to find one that's a couple of minutes so I can keep you guys busy for a couple of minutes while I go looking. That one. All right. Diddly crash. Nope. All right. That one will do. Sorry, it takes me a couple of minutes to load these up onto the screen where you guys can see them. All right.
New details in that police motorcycle crash at a Palm Springs Christmas parade that injured 11 spectators. The on-duty officer may have been performing a stunt when he lost control and crashed into the crowd. It was breaking news last night. Palm Springs Police Chief Andrew Mills says he's now aware of video on social media showing officers at the event, quote, popping the clutch. Now, this refers to suddenly releasing the clutch to accelerate or to perform wheelies. Officers on parade duty sometimes do this to pump up the crowd, but it may have led to this crash.
We heard a loud motorcycle that did not sound normal, like it should be there, and then like a crash. And everybody just like, whoa, and we see all the crowd running towards it to help out people. And it was just very freaky.
The chief says he will review the video to help determine if parade protocol need to be changed.
All right, let me show you that video. I don't know how much of it shows on this particular one, but I can show it to you here.
Oh my God!
So as you can see, he actually lost control Let me just get out of this. Come on, stop that. You can see him like rev up here. It's hard to see. It's a little pixelated. You can see him like sort of try and pop that clutch and do that little bit of a, wheelie type thing. And he loses control right on the edge of the screen here. And then he ditches, I think he ditches the bike, and you can see it's a little hard to see, but you can see the sparks flying from the metal hitting the concrete. And it actually plowed into all these people on the edge of the road here. It's really brutal. And his hand was severed in the event. Witnesses were saying like his hand was basically off his body. So I don't know what he hit, but there's the bike. You can't even tell it's a bike anymore. And I don't know if he lost his hand. Hopefully they were able to reattach it. But yeah. Yeah, he didn't need to do that. I think they were almost done. October through April, Palm Springs is a place to be. We have a viewer that comes from the area. She's not here tonight though. Did anyone else get hurt? Yeah, 10 people suffered minor injuries, were taken to hospital, and I think the majority of them have been released into their own care now. I don't think anyone else is outstanding. Let me just have a quick look. I don't believe so, though. I don't think anyone is... Yeah, I don't see any major update. Let me double check here today. 22 hours ago. Yeah, I think it's okay. I think most of them just had like crush injuries, that type of thing. Yeah, let's go to Fox 11. I can show you a little bit. Not Fox 11, let's go to KKTV. They have a bit of an update here for you. They're saying here 10 people were injured after a police traffic officer on a motorbike crashed into bystanders at a weekend holiday parade in Palm Springs, California. All of the injured were taken to hospital Saturday night for treatment of injuries that were not considered life-threatening, including the officer. But I heard his hand was almost completely off his body. They said the bike slid into the crowd of spectators and brought the festive event to a standstill for more than an hour. Authorities said some emergency responders participating in the parade helped the injured, including crews on ambulances and fire trucks that they still had their like holiday decorations on them. Then so the police chief came out and apologized to everyone. I think this is him here. Let's see.
This evening, when the motor officers were trying to clear the streets of people, one of the officers had a mishap on his bike. The bike accelerated and he lost control of it. And unfortunately, he got severely injured, but also some citizens got injured. And I'm deeply sorry about that.
Remembering Aaliyah Sanong, Laura Splotch has known Leah for...
There you go. So that happened late last night. I also don't have an update, unfortunately, about the 4 people who were found dead in Atlanta. I was looking for it last night, but I didn't find anything. Hold on. Let me just see. 10 hours ago, 30. Yeah, there hasn't been much of an update. Let me go to WRDW. It broke last night on our show.
Well, 5 people are dead this morning, including 2 young children, after an apparent murder-suicide in DeKalb County. This happened last night at an apartment complex on Vineyard Walk. Police responded there after receiving a call requesting a welfare check. They found a 43-year-old woman, 32-year-old man, 26-year-old woman, 5-year-old girl, and 1-year-old boy who had all been shot and killed. Right now, details are very limited, but we will continue tracking this developing story.
Remembering Aaliyah.
They keep wanting us to remember that woman. So we were speculating last night. So it's a older woman. a younger woman in her 30s, a man in his, I know, a woman in her 20s, late 20s, a man in his early 30s, and then a couple of children. One is 5 years old, one is 1 years old. Seems to be a murder S word. Can't use the word, unfortunately. Yeah, very, very awful right before the holidays. I mean, here, I'll go to the Independent. I'll show you what I know. They say 5 killed, including a girl, 5, and a boy, 1, in horror murder S word at Georgia home. They're saying the people's ages, it was a 43-year-old woman, a 32-year-old man, a 26-year-old woman, all who appeared to have been shot, along with those 2 children who they believe had gunshot wounds as well. Really brutal. They say in an email statement, Lieutenant Shane Smith of DeKalb County Police Department said officers responded to the grisly scene on Saturday shortly before 7:30 p.m. There they found the two young children deceased, along with a 43-year-old woman, 32-year-old man, and a 26-year-old woman, all whom appeared to have been shot. None of the victims have been identified, and it is not known yet which of them is the shooter. So they're not sure who committed this like heinous act. Uh, they're still investigating it, and because it wiped out, it's almost like a family annihilator. They wiped out the entire family basically in that unit. They may not have a next of kin to call. Like that's why the names have not been given out, because they may not know who to call because they're all in the property. So we might have to wait a little while to get more information about that. Yeah, they'll be treated, and lawyers will get them a settlement from the Palm Springs PD. Brick said, I hadn't seen this in the news here. Sad news. It is to have so many people, not just children, killed in their home by what seems to be either a family member or a close associate is pretty brutal. Let me see if there's anything else. The information about it has been very thin. Let me search this 5 km Georgia home. Yeah, there's been like the reporting on it's just not very in depth at this point. Let's see.
Last night is breaking news. 5 people dead, what police call an apparent murder-suicide. It happened at an apartment complex in DeKalb County. Police have yet to identify the victims, but Fox 5's Kim Luffler spoke with the neighbors. They say they knew the family who lived in the apartment where the bodies were found. Kim.
Friends of the family who lived here tell us they really brought the community together, just having neighbors over for Thanksgiving.
She was my friend, my aunt, my guardian angel on earth. Like,
neighbors of the Vineyards of Flat Shoals Apartments can't believe the family who lived here is gone.
Thanksgiving, we sat down here, we had a good time. We were down here planning Christmas, Monday, helped them decorate, put up the tree, do the windows, all of that.
Passion Hall says a woman lived here with her boyfriend, her daughter-in-law, and her 2 grandkids. DeKalb County Police got called to this apartment around 7:30 Saturday night to do a welfare check. When they got there, police say they found a 43-year-old woman, a 32-year-old man, a 26-year-old woman, a 5-year-old girl, and a 1-year-old baby boy, all dead inside with gunshot wounds. Police called the incident a murder-suicide.
Those kids were precious. Those were truly gifts from God.
Hall says she'll always remember how the family opened up their arms to her and her kids and made her feel like one of their own, especially the grandmother of the youngest victims.
She gonna tell you to toughen up. Like, stop happen. Look, you gonna have to toughen up. That's life. But girl, I ain't gonna be able to toughen up from this one. It was my family. My family from another, and it's sad.
Police still haven't said exactly what led up to all this or who the shooter was. Of course, as we learn more, we'll be sure to bring that right to you.
Yeah, other than that interview, the reporting has been extremely just thin on it. I think they're probably trying to figure out what happened and how a firearm entered the home. Carla said, I hadn't heard about this. Yeah, it happened late last night. We saw it breaking news towards the end of yesterday's show. So the older woman, her boyfriend, her daughter-in-law, and the grandchildren, that's what it seems like, yes. It seems like there was the grandmother, her partner, her daughter, and her children. So it's almost like 3 generations of people, right? You have the babies, you have their mum, and you have their grandmother. That is a fair who if it ends up being we look, statistics tell us it's most likely to be a male, so I'm just gonna go with that unless we're proven otherwise. But if it is, that's 3 generations of people gone. It's a family annihilator. Yeah, where is the dad? I don't know. Maybe that's who they're trying to contact. Maybe that's who they're trying to get in contact with. All right. All right. Shall we talk a little bit more about this since everyone's so enamored with it? It's almost like Where's Waldo? It's like we're playing Where's Waldo, but we're playing the USA edition, and it could be anywhere in the Eastern Seaboard. Or it's like where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? That's almost what it is. Let me grab a new thing for us to talk about. No, we don't want that. Here. Let's go to Fox 11 Los Angeles. Watch this.
Well, that killing is drawing unexpected reaction on social media. Many people expressing support for the shooter. As Fox 11's Gina Silva reports, this has everything to do with the high cost of health care.
Nobody deserves to get on their way to work. Nobody deserves to get their healthcare claims denied either.
All over social media, people are posting how they feel about the victim.
Someone said thoughts and prayers and deductibles.
And the shooter in the UnitedHealthcare murder case.
The assassin was super impressive, okay? We've never seen anything like this.
The high-profile killing of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson has sparked discussions about healthcare policies, corporate practices, and economic frustrations.
UnitedHealthcare, by a 90% margin, denied more claims than any other insurance company on the market.
Deny, depose, defend. If that isn't a loud, clear message to all these CEOs across the board of these health insurance companies, I don't know what is.
We feel like we're living parallel lives with the elite in our country.
That Danish guy is a social media influencer with 2 million followers on TikTok. He is a skilled internet sleuth known for finding people. While he does not condone killing anyone, that Danish guy has no interest in tracking down the CEO's killer.
A lot of us aren't that sympathetic towards somebody who has caused the death of many countless people. I mean, it's unknown.
So I didn't want to really talk about the killing as such. I wanted to talk about more about the the vigilantism that seems to be going on. This is not the only story I've seen on it. I've seen a few that have detailed how people just aren't willing to help or call in or, you know, do the normal searching that everyone does when these stories come out. So I find that Rachel says praising this is wrong. Yep. Julie says, I don't think this guy smiling at the hostel is the shooter. Nice Charmander cup. It is a good one, right? Yeah, we'll move off it. I just wanted to talk about this little bit because I find it interesting. I'm not sure we've seen too many crimes except for like back in the 80s and 70s where, you know, people would stand by the side of the road and cheer on, you know, someone that was in a police chase or running from the cops or whatever. I don't know if we've seen much of this type of, you know, people wanting to be sympathetic to someone who's committed murder like that. So I find that at least interesting to me that a lot of people seem to have the same sentiment that, you know, who cares if they catch him? You know, I'm not getting involved. Why should I? And yeah, just sort of let's let him go on the run all he wants, and we're not going to call him in. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but I found it fascinating that people are so, you know, okay with it. You know, okay with shooting someone in broad daylight in New York City, although it probably happens more than we think. Rearrested. Sorry, I'm trying to set up our next story. Hold on. All right. So let me know what you think about that. And then Okay. So this story is really interesting, and I wanted to talk about it, but I just got to find this thing for it. Yep, here. All right. They say a Philadelphia man who received a $4.1 million settlement from city officials after he served 24 years behind bars for a murder he did not commit is headed back to jail. They say, I hope I got his name right, but it's Sean Thomas, now 50 years old, pleaded guilty in court on Thursday to killing 38-year-old Akeem Edwards on January 3rd, 2023, over a $1,200 drug debt. They say he had previously been convicted of second-degree murder for the November 1990 shooting of a Puerto Rican businessman and was sentenced to life in prison. So he was able to get out of jail with the help of like the Innocence Project and other lawyers who, you know, he maintained his innocence all those years. And they were like, oh my God, this case, it is one that needs to be, you know, he needs to get out of jail and we need to free an innocent man. So he got out of jail, got a $4.1 million settlement from the city, and then decided to start dealing drugs. So this is where this goes completely off the rails. So the Philadelphia DA ultimately declined to retry the case of the guy he killed, the Puerto Rican businessman, saying they were not entirely convinced Thomas was innocent, but decided to let him out anyway. They say Thomas was then released from prison and said at the time that he had no animosity towards police and planned to just move forward with his life. There's a photo of him. And there's a photo when he got out of prison. 3 years later, he settled a suit against the city for $4.15 million. He also joined a network of other Philadelphians who were freed from prison after their convictions had been overturned. There he met a lady called Ketra Vesey, whose brother Willie had his murder case overturned in 2019. They dated on and off for 6 years, and last fall, Thomas asked her to connect him with her childhood friend, Akeem Edwards, to see if he might sell some cocaine for him. The ex-convict then gave Edwards a sandwich bag filled with drugs and told him to bring back $1,200 from the proceeds, which Edwards never paid by the 3rd of January 2023. That day, Thomas and Vesey met at her Delaware home, drove to Philadelphia to run some errands. Before they returned home, she said, Thomas suggested they drive through the neighborhood to see if they could find Edwards. When they ultimately spotted him, Vesey said, Thomas got out of the car. She later testified that she did not know that Thomas had a gun with him that day and never wished any harm on Edwards herself. And they said, but soon after, she heard gunshots and saw him running back to the vehicle and putting the gun in his waistband. He told her, he's hit, he's down, just drive, saying that she did just what he told her to do. On the drive back to Delaware, she said her boyfriend made a shocking admission. He said it's his third homicide and he can't go back to jail. She further claimed that Thomas told her that he knew where her children and family lived and to keep her mouth quiet or else. But a few weeks later, a federal informant told homicide detectives that Thomas had discussed Edward's murder with him and said Vesey was with him. The informant also claimed that Thomas put out a hit on her out of concern she might cooperate with investigators. That led to a search of his home, where cops recovered 5 guns and a Gap hoodie that resembled the one the Edward shooter wore. Thomas was then arrested and charged with illegal gun possession, but was later released on bail. Meanwhile, Philadelphia police continued their investigation and received cell phone data that placed the two of them at the scene of the murder. They were both arrested in March and charged with that murder. They said were behind bars. Thomas sent her letters saying that she said were intimidating, and she ultimately agreed to cooperate with the police and testified against him in exchange for lower charges for herself. She wound up pleading guilty last year to aggravated assault and conspiracy charges and is currently awaiting sentencing. For his part, Thomas did not deny any of the claims in court on Thursday and pleaded guilty to 6 crimes, including third-degree murder, conspiracy, and illegal gun possession. He is due to be sentenced in February. So, what a turnaround. You would think if you had got $4.1 million from the government that you would move to Jamaica and buy a home and move away from your drug dealing and cocaine and whatever. Like, why would you go back to that life after you were given a gift from God that got your sentence overturned? They gave you $4 million. It's almost like, oh my God, it's like a dream. I won the lottery. And you still go back to peddling about for $1,200. Like, it's ridiculous. Laura T says you got $4 million and you're going to get mad over 12. It's not, yeah, $1,200, like $1,000. Why would you even care? Why would you even go shoot him? Like, it's all he knew. Then there should have been more support when he got out of prison, especially someone who'd been incarcerated for 24 years. Like, they must have known that he's so entrenched in the jail life. He definitely sabotaged his chance at a new life. Definitely. Very sad, you know. He almost got like the ultimate get out of jail free card, even though he had served a couple of decades, but you know, he could have gone and lived his life forever and never had to work. Would have been okay monetarily wise. Rachel says that should have been a sign to move away and not get into trouble. Exactly right. Most people would have taken that as, I'm moving to Belfast and I'm going to hide out in a pub where no one can find me. Yeah, crazy story. Probably too old to change his ways, maybe. I really wish I could find a video that had it on it, but I tried searching, but I don't know if it's a hyper-local. Sometimes hyper-local cases are hard to find videos for. Let me have another look. Sean Thomas. Let me check one other place for you. Let's check past week. No, it's really weird. I don't see very much. Past month? Anytime. All right. Here, I'm going to show you something over here. I'll show you the one from Fox 29.
And right now we are live with Sean Thomas, who just came down that road with the biggest smile on his face. How does it feel?
It feels great to be home, to be back. Hey, words are speechless right now.
What's the first thing you're going to do?
I'm doing it right now, hugging a bunch of people.
What's going through your heart? What's going through your mind?
I'm leaving behind a lot of good people that, you know, I ain't giving this opportunity. You know, I ain't going to forget about them. And, you know, I hope to see them home one day like as myself. You know, it's been a struggle. hard struggle. Just can't give up. That's why I'm here today. I got a good team, legal team that was with me. Hey, good family support. Never gave up. It was hard. Never gave up.
Now, James Fagorski worked for you so long, almost 8 years, 900 hours. And I heard that you were really instrumental in giving him information that helped make this day possible.
Hey, sometimes I think it was my mind that he pushed me to remember things. You can always remember the truth. Can't remember a lie. And that's what set me free today, the truth.
And what will you do now?
They're great people, and they'll be in my life forever. And if there's anything I could do, I'm going to do it.
Any plans for the future?
Just a happy day. Any what?
Plans for the future?
Yeah, get married. Well, I say in about 6 months to a year.
That's great. That's great. Are you going to stay in Philadelphia? Are you going to move?
No, Philadelphia caused me too many heartaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where would you like to go?
Somewhere out south.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't seem to go anywhere down south after being released. Seemed to go to Delaware. Delaware, not the first place I'd probably choose if I just got out of a Philadelphia prison for the last 24 years. I'd probably move to, I don't know, Spain. I don't know. I don't know. Somewhere that's not there. Yeah, third person. She said he told her that he'd been involved in 3 homicides. 3. So Kaliza says we really need to have outside support for people when they get out of prison. It's hard to get hired as a felon, but this guy had no excuse. It's very sad. I agree. $4 million. I think. I mean, he may have had to give some to the Innocence Project for helping him, but it's still a lot of money. Even if he lost half of it, it's more money than most people from his circumstances maybe ever would see in their lifetime. He had every opportunity to change his life. Instead, decided to go back to the streets, basically to that street lifestyle. And it's very sad for someone who really was given a gift of freedom, and now he will lose that gift, and he's going to go back to jail. 3rd-degree homicide. What will he get? I don't know. He's probably back in for another 10 years. I don't know how long he'll actually spend in there. But by the way, a story out of Sydney, Australia today. Really strange story. This will probably be the last one for the night. This is a very odd story. It came out a few hours ago. When I woke up this morning, they were talking about it. A woman's body found wrapped in plastic. I'm just trying to find the press conference for it. They found her near the Sydney airport. Just trying to find the press conference for it. Hold on. All right. Yes, here 1 hour ago.
Content that may be confronting.
New South Wales Police have confirmed a woman's body has been found wrapped in plastic, dumped by the side of a busy motorway in Sydney. They say the woman, who was discovered by a walker this morning, was in a state of decomposition. Sean Tarek Goodwin has been following the story and joins us now. Hi there, Sean. So police spoke just a short time ago. What did they say?
Well, Roz, police have confirmed that they did indeed find a woman's body concealed in plastic by the side of Foreshore Road in Botany, a busy motorway that runs between a parkland and the Sydney airport this morning. They say they were called to that scene by a local walker who noticed something suspicious by the side of a pathway and called police. And they said that when they arrived there, they confirmed that it was indeed a woman's body underneath some plastic. They said that the body itself was in a state of decomposition such that it was difficult to determine exactly how long it had been there, and other key identifying characteristics like the woman's age or other things like her ethnicity, they said, were difficult to discern at this point. That's why they've put out a broad appeal for anyone who may be missing a female loved one to come forward and
That is very concerning. They're saying the state of advanced decomposition of the female's body is causing them a lot of problems of identifying possibly how old she is, what ethnicity she might be, if she's related to any missing person cases that they already have. To have that level of decomposition, Sydney has been extremely hot and humid over the last couple of weeks. They've had a heat wave just like we have down here. Those temperatures and daily minimum and maximums are quite high. I would suggest she could have been there for as little as maybe a few days, maybe a few days to a week. Depends. Could be even longer depending on what they say. Let me look at what it says right now. So relative humidity around Sydney right now is hovering around 70% humidity, but it's been higher up in the 90s over the last week, along with higher daily temperatures. Right now it's about 22 degrees. It's been up in the 30s and higher, which is like 90 degrees Fahrenheit. It's been quite warm out there. So the fact her body could be that bad, that body and head looks out of place on the green top woman. A lot of these guys, yeah, it's hot, very hot. So for her body to be unidentifiable, she's been there for at least a little while. Yeah, I'll play the rest.
police. They said they're also going through missing persons databases to try to identify this woman. This is what police said just a short time ago.
It appears the body was disposed of on Foreshore Drive in an attempt to hide the body. There may be people out there who are missing a loved one, and it may be someone's, we don't know the age, so it could be someone's mother, daughter, sister, friend. So we're seeking assistance from anyone who may have someone who's a friend who's female who may be missing.
Now, police are also appealing for anyone who may have witnessed something suspicious on Foreshore Road at any point in the last few weeks, or who might have dash cam footage or any other footage to get in contact with them. There's been a large police presence in that parkland this morning, combing through quite dense scrub to try to look for any other pieces of evidence that might give them some more clues. They say this investigation is in its early stages and they'll continue to provide updates as they come.
So there you go. Isn't that awful? Here, I'll show you a little bit more here. They got a little bit of footage of the cops working out there. You can see what type of bushland it is. I'll mute it. There you go. You can see them taking photos, taking samples. This is from a provider called TNV. I'll give them their credit. TNV filmed this footage. You can see them putting cameras over into the area. It is very overgrown. So, I mean, she could have been there for a while without anyone really noticing. Yeah, it's been very hot. Thankfully, you guys have had some pretty bad heat wave. So, there you go, a tarp. They're going to put up a tarp. Let's see. All right. Yeah, so a woman wrapped in plastic. Her body was found this morning, and now homicide squad detectives are trying to figure out who this woman is, where she came from, and if anyone is missing a female family member. I'm sure that when news gets around that they found a body, this will probably get wrapped up. That's a bad word. Not wrapped up, but they'll figure this out pretty quick. They just got to find out who this lady is. Yeah, I'm just closing some windows so I have more room. All right. Let me stop that. There we go. Yeah, it is a pretty dense vegetation area. Yeah, it's. Let's see if I can get an address. Hold on. It's off Joseph Banks Park off Foreshore Road in Botany, not Mascot. It's in Botany. So let me see if we can find it on the maps here. Okay. So the park is right here, Sir Joseph Banks Park. Foreshore Road is like a pretty busy road. You can see it's like, what is that, a 4-lane highway or 6-lane even? Look, 1, 2, 3. 3 here, 2 here for some reason. So it's a multi-lane, pretty big thoroughfare. You've got some stuff down here though. Look, a playground, like a adventure playground for kids. You've got a waterway. And they're saying it was off Foreshore Road near the airport. So where's see, airport's right here. This is where some planes come into land. Look at this. So if you ever landed in Sydney, you would have seen this. This is Sydney Airport. So if you've ever come in on approach and landed over the water, you would definitely have known this area. It's a bit freaky, even taking off. Sometimes when you take off, you hit here and then you're over the water. It's pretty freaky. What is that? I don't know if that's a shipwreck or just a random boat. It looks like it's sunk, like a ghost boat. Look at that. But if we're on Foreshore Road right near the airport, and it's near Sir Joseph Banks Park, it's around here somewhere. There is quite a bit of that dense bush vegetation. Let me have a look at that video again. Where are they? Okay, so they're on this side of the highway. It must be on this side here. Not, at least I think so, judging by their video. Let me just zoom out a bit. What did they say? We're called to Joseph Banks Park off Foreshore Road on the side of the path. Okay, no, it must be the other side. Let me go back to that. So no, it must be like here. They said off the side of the path. There's the path. So in here, like in this bit here where you get all this dense bushland right there, like these shrubs, they said they noticed something in the shrubs. So right here, could it be a jogger? No, where would they get the plastic from? But you can see there is quite a bit of that dense bushland. And it goes for quite a distance too. It goes up here a little bit, but I think we're talking about more down here somewhere. You see, it gets pretty built up, like right here. But yeah, right next to the airport, like you can see, there's that path that they're talking about, and there's the airport right next door. So, an interesting place to want to dump a body right next to a federally, observed area that has high security. It's not the place I would think of dumping a body, right next to where they have AFP, customs, border control, police. Very strange. That's opposite the boat ramp. What is the thing under the water? A plane under the water? You think so? Let's go back. I don't know if it looks like a plane. It looks like a boat. Like you got one, this end here is very flat, and this bit's like more pointed, like a bow. I don't know. It could just be really bad satellite photos too. See, you have there, this is a boat trail from a boat that's moving across the water. I don't know what that is. Maybe a big shipping, like one of these guys. Like that. Down at the wharfs, like one of these guys. Or something like one of these. Bulk liquids. So this is where they transfer gas into the pipeline. It's a gas depository. Not the type you use when you have Taco Bell. The one that powers your home. Not the Taco Bell one. Here we go. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you would dump a body here. It seems public too with that walking path. It's like people would be there every morning. It's Botany Shipping Dock. Tail and fuselage? Yeah. You've been wrapping women in plastic, Sean. All right. All right, we better get out of here. We've been on here for a couple of hours already. And I think everyone got bored once we stopped talking about the CEO. All right. By the way, I wanted to thank Avalon Apples. By the way, Avalon, I got that donation yesterday. That's very kind of you. It was very sweet of you. And the other people who have helped out too. I appreciate it very much. It looks like some sort of like cyclone fencing, or I've got a photo here. Let's see if we can. There's the photo.
At long last, this
Oh, shush. So it's definitely off that path. And it gets more like scrublandy as you get further in. They've tried to make it as non-identifying as possible. But there you go. You can see the cops in the Yeah, Mrs. Ping's gone to get her nails done. She hasn't had her nails done in, I don't know, never since I met her. But she's doing it for the wedding. So she's off to get her nails done this evening. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll be back tomorrow. I will have those samples for you tomorrow. Sorry, going through them last night, I was showing Mrs. Ping and she's like, they spelt it wrong. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no, they didn't. And she's like, no, they did. It looks wrong. It doesn't look like the photo you gave them. So we had to send it back this morning and we're like, can you please get this done urgently? Like, we've got to work with this and we've got to show people, like, we're running out of time. Like, you have to do this before I go to Tasmania. And they're like, yeah, we'll get it back to you. So hopefully, I was hoping we were going to have it before we knocked off the air tonight, but I don't have a follow-up email from the company as of yet. All right. By the way, just before we get going tonight, this just broke. Aussie swimming legend Dawn Fraser rushed to hospital with multiple injuries. Apparently, she has multiple injuries, including broken ribs. She's 87 years old now, an Olympic champion who won a lot of medals in the Olympics for Australia, has been rushed to hospital. We'll have to see what happens tomorrow, Sean. Yeah, infamous is probably the better word. That's right. But saying here, she was rushed to hospital this afternoon. For what reason? I don't know. Also, I'll show you this before we go too. There was a guy that was swimming in Queensland on the Gold Coast, and check this out. He died after he jumped over a shark net. He jumped over the shark net and got swept out to sea. A riptide or a strong current got him and took him out. So apparently, him and his friends were sitting on the on this white. This is the shark netting here. This white. I don't know what you call it. A pontoon. Is that the right word? They were sitting on it, and then he decided to jump on the other side of it, and a current took him and drowned him, and he was swept out further out and was killed after he did something very silly. Why would you hang around the shark net? You know they get caught in the netting, right? Like, what if there was a great white that's very angry about being caught in the net, and then you are there playing with it and you dive down and there's a giant great white shark just trapped in the net? He might bite your face off. He might. You know, great white sharks are everywhere in Australia. He might just bite your leg off or something. You know, like his dying wish was to kill a human, and he might just bite you. But yeah, there you go. There's that white inflatable kind of shark netting. He jumped over the other side of it, and they're saying the current or a riptide took him, and he drowned. Bull shark, yeah, it could be a bull shark. No, it was not a smart decision at all. Not at all. Yeah, so he unfortunately died as well. Yeah, his family are trying to fight back at online trolls who are mocking his death, apparently. It's people that were that were there at the time said it was so effing obvious what was going to happen. It's why I yelled don't, and they're saying, but it's very sad what happened, even though apparently everyone watching knew that there was a strong current on the other side of the shark netting. So his name was Jake Brown. He was 29 years old and drowned and died after jumping over the shark net at the beach. There's a photo of him. Obviously looks very proud of himself. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, that's what kills most people, swimming against the current. They freak out and try to get back to where they were instead of just swimming to safety, even if it's further away. The tide will take you. You just don't try swim the other way against it. Yeah, he said, "Hold my beer" before jumping. So yeah, that's often used as just a saying. So I don't know if he really had a beer or he was just joking. I'm not sure. But yeah, there you go. There. See, the man said Mr. Brown told his friend, "Hold my beer" before he jumped over the edge of the net. He said, "I said stop. You could see what was going to happen." He tried to jump off, but the current took him. He came up once and I swam to him, but then he went under the net and obviously got caught under there and unfortunately drowned. So, be careful when you're at beaches and don't play with public infrastructure. Don't play with things that you don't know what they are. So, all right. Hey, I love you all very much. Have a great Sunday night. Go Niners. Niners are still terrible, but go Niners. And I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow night will be on a little earlier, thank God. And we'll see. Maybe I'll come back later if there's news Monday morning in the USA. If there is news about the CEO manhunt, I will come back for you. I will come back like 7 a.m. Eastern time. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll come back for you all if there is more breaking news first thing in the morning in America. All right. Hey, I love you all. Have a great evening. Have a great night, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Only a few days now until I go to Tasmania. By the way, Wednesday night for you guys, there will be no live show at all. There'll be no live show, but there will be us in the car driving out to the hotel. So I don't know how much of a show it'll be, but it'll be on around this time. So the late show time, that's when it'll be on. So keep an eye out for the notification, and you can join us driving out along the coast of Tasmania to our hotel. Apparently, we drive along the water, like right on the water, like halfway there. So apparently, like there's a coastline, and we follow it in the on the highway. So you guys should be able to see the water and all the pretty stuff. Maybe he was dead from his friend. I will. I might show you a photo if she lets me. I'll show you a photo if she lets me. Yeah, thank you to all the people who supported the channel over the last few weeks. I really appreciate it. It's made the trip a little easier. Because it's just been bonkers, I tell you. Between that and Rory's surgery that we have to do when we get back, it's been really hard. So I really appreciate those people very much. You excited to see Tasmania? We're hoping we're going to have enough cash left to go do the what do they call it? The Tasmanian Devils, because we really want to show you the Tassie Devils. So we'll see. We're still doing some financial wizardry trying to make it work. So if everything falls to plan and we can Tetris everything into place properly, we should be able to go. So we're hoping we'll be able to do that because that'll be a fun thing. I guess it's not far from the Tropic Collision. This thing, I don't think it's that far, no. I think it's probably just around the corner. What beach was it? Paradise Point. There you go. Yeah, it's not that far. It's must be yeah, it must be pretty close. It's probably a little further up because SeaWorld and the Gold Coast is a little further south. So probably somewhere along the same river. A family booking is cheaper. I think it's just going to be me and her. I don't think the rest of them will go with us. We've got people flying in Saturday and then they're flying out Sunday morning. It's only like me and the immediate. I don't know. We'll ask. We'll ask the in-laws if they want to go, but they may be tired because apparently the wedding goes to like 2 a.m. in the morning, and then we have to get a shuttle back from the wedding venue to the hotel. So we'll see. I'll see. But yeah, we wanted to show you some Australian wildlife, and Mrs. Ping loves animals, so we're hoping we can still do it. We had 95 viewers at one point. I know, and as soon as we stopped talking about the CEO, they all left. They all left, and they all unsubscribed. I'll see you tomorrow. I can't wait to go traveling with you all. By the way, keep an eye on the social media at Nights with Ping on Twitter and at Nights with Ping on Facebook, because there's a good chance I'll be posting the travel videos there and not on the YouTube channel, like while we're traveling. I'll be back on probably about 7 a.m. Eastern to do more CEO Manhunt coverage. So if that's what you enjoyed, come back then, and we'll do that in a few hours, okay? Good night for now. I'll see you about 7, 8 a.m. in the morning. Bye. Bye-bye.